Hi everyone, it's Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 6, and we're going to do our Love and Hate edition. So this is about the fifth one that I think we've done. If you guys are new, what we do is we just take the storylines of a couple characters and see where we're at that moment. Are we attached to the character? Are we worried about the character? So we got a lot of good information to talk about today, I think, with the two that we're going to bring up, which is going to be Judith and Negan. So before we get started with that, I want to thank everybody for being here. Even though the initial stream did say 11 p.m., my apologies, everyone. It's supposed to be 11 a.m. I posted on the fan page 11 a.m., but on this site we had to go back and adjust the time. But we got a super chat right out of the gates, and this is Valar. Happy Sunday to you, Valar. Hello, 99 Army Kill, Steph, Emmy Kill, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, Patreons, and of course, all the super chatters, and we are ready for Walking Dead Day. So I know some people think it's football day and it's cookout day and a lot of different days, but to us, the hardcore fans, it is Walking Dead Day, and we're going to jump right into it. So first of all, I'm going to start out by saying I might have hated Negan early on and then been a little too eager to bring him back. So I'm going to tell you what I mean by that in just a couple minutes. Judith, there's no doubt about it. I think just her initial lines, her toughness, the fact that she is carrying on the Rick story, the Carl story to some degree, there's no doubt about it. We're going to be attached to this character, and every little thing she does is like the police, right? Every little thing she does is magic. I think every little thing she does, we get super excited about it. When she picked up the hat, you could literally see people saying, I got cold chills when it happened. When we talked about the spoilers, people were already feeling a little bit of that. With Negan, it's a little different story. Because we know the Whisper storyline, and we know that at some point we will need Negan, but I still think there's going to be some treachery and a little bit of deceit. So I might have been too anxious to say, the writers are not going to put him back in that situation. They're not going to make him sneaky and manipulate. But I'm not sure. He might be a little bit manipulative. So we're going to discuss that today. We've got another super chat. We got Scott Kernan says, hey, Kills, how do you think Judith-Lydia relationship will play out? It was an interesting dynamic in the comic with Carl and Lydia. I don't know that and actually I do know a little bit about this. Judith is not taking on Carl's role. Judith, I think, and this is what's kind of cool about it, is I think Judith is just Judith. She's got the hat. She's got the toughness. She's going to be her own boss, but I think Henry is the one that is going to carry that storyline. So they're going to split some of Carl's story with multiple people. And I also think it kind of keeps it unique to where we're not just kind of waiting to see what Carl did in the comics. I think watch out for the Henry and Lydia storyline. I did see some spoilers that will be happening in the future. I'll leave it at that until we get into probably 9? No, you know what? We're going to see the Whispers tonight. We might see the Henry and Lydia story next week. Because it does look like some of what's happening tonight will tie into that. So I don't want to get too much into it, but we do know that Magna is not totally to be trusted. And apparently there will be a group that goes up to the Hilltop. Henry's already up to the Hilltop. Carol's on her way to the Hilltop. And when we do finally meet the Whispers, what we hear is that there'll be a introduction of Lydia. Lydia will end up at the Hilltop, and then Henry will follow them back. All right, that's all I'm going to give you at this point. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect Judith to follow him. Tammy Heitzman, Judith is like Captain Marvel. Best of all. I think... we need heroes again, because you're kind of looking around, you just lost, one of the big heroes, and Daryl's not mentally into it, Carol's not mentally into it. So we need the strong characters that are ready to go already at this point. And yes, typically a Rosita, like Rosita sort of stays even keel a lot of times. So Scott says, Kills, it seems as if we have no news on Hilltop. Well, some of the news we sort of got to piece together, Scott. So I think Jesus, I would be willing to bet, is Hilltop, Aaron Hilltop, Daryl, who knows where he's at? And, I mean, I haven't heard it yet, but I did say I thought a while back it would be Jesus and Aaron in a relationship. That was a bold prediction from like 6 months ago, but we've just got no confirmation from it. I mean, maybe they're co-leaders. Maybe neither one of them want a relationship, but it just seemed that would be some common ground there. All right, we've got Wilson. Kills, do you think that Magna will let Negan out? You know, we haven't seen the fire, and we haven't seen the gasoline. And there are still some saviors out there running rogue. This is a little bit of the dynamic. Does Negan... All right. Question I have for you guys. Before I answer that question, let me ask a question. Judy is talking to Negan, and apparently life is back to normal. She's doing homework. She's learning. She's, tough, but she's trying to be a typical kid. Do you think that it's known that Judith is talking to Negan? Do you think Michonne knows? Do you think that it's allowed? Or that Judith just does whatever Judith does? Question. Or it's just like, stay away from him, but she does it anyway. She feels for him, and she talks to him through the bars. Just want to see what the vibe is. This myth says Judy just does whatever she does, that nobody's stopping her. And Scott says Judith interacts more with Negan more than Michonne. That would be interesting. And the reason I want to ask this question is because I want to kind of get to the maturity level of what she does. And Deborah says rebellious preteen, but keep in mind, the zombie apocalypse does have a way of maturing people much, much faster. So Judith might, even though she's like 10, 11, she might have the mindset, the toughness, and the maturity, maybe not the physical stature, of someone that's already 19 or 20. Being out there, having to survive, does toughen you up a little bit more. Angie says, strong-willed child with a mind of her own. And I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If she is disobedient or if she's just allowed, to stay up late at night and play video games. Negan might be her late-night video game to most kids. Or if there's just a curiosity. And that's where I want to tie it back in to say love and hate. So at this moment, I'm going to still say I hate Negan. All right? Now, I don't hate him as much as I used to. So to me, there's going to be different levels of hate. And I'm going to explain that one second. Scott Kernan says Michonne's child makes this entirely different. It does. And apparently, from what we've heard, and I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but the child will be referred to as RJ. I don't know if that's just spoiler sites referring to Rick Jr. as RJ, but kind of be prepared for that. And along the way, is it possible that, I hate to say it like this because I know there's so many hardcore Michonne fans out there. I know Michonne loves Judith, but is it possible, even slightly possible, that Michonne has neglected, maybe neglect is too strong of a word, hasn't given Judy that attention, so she just sort of had to mature? There's no way to ask that in a positive light. I mean, it almost seems like I'm saying it with a negative connotation. Crawfish is super chatting the lyrics already. So, Captain Crawfish, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. There you go. You super chatted it. I'll give you a little bit of you know what? I don't even know. I'll just give you some early morning singing. I was going to come up with something catchy and clever, but I just froze. Scott Kernan says, well, Judith isn't really her or Rick's child. Yeah, I mean, but still, I have to walk on eggshells when I ask it that way because I don't want to make it look too early like Michonne is more worried about Rick's child than Judy. Because I think Rick and Michonne love Judy like that, but I think it's just natural. Right? She's a little older, and there's other people that can watch over her a little bit, and Michonne's got to take care of the baby. And I just think it's funny that Maggie talked about how she never got a chance to ask Lynn, and she had to raise Herschel by herself. And if Michonne was in that situation, and Michonne is in that situation. And it's also going to be interesting to see the dynamic between Judy and RJ. So, I'm not sure how I feel yet. If with Judy talking to Negan, if she's going to come home and Michonne's there, fixing dinner, and, there's a conversation like, guess what Negan told me today? Or if it's going to be like, are you talking to that Negan again? So either way, I think I can't really make a strong assessment until I see what her relationship is and what she's doing. She's doing it, or she's doing it behind people's back. And that could set up whether or not Judy feels sorry for Negan and lets him out. Or there's still the savior dynamic. So Captain Crawfish says, you can't see it that way. Michonne showed she loved Judy. I agree. So I'm super, super careful. So let's move on to the next thing that could happen is we know from the spoilers that there's some saviors still out there. And we do know there's a fire scene. So many different ways this could go down. Someone could try to kill Negan, so the door has to be unlocked. The saviors could try to smoke him out, so they have to let him out because they feel he's in danger. So they could be pulling a little bit of an okey doke. So I'm going to ask the question to the group, and because I think there's a few ways this hint could play out, even though it's not in the spoilers. So, the Crawfish is throwing down a super chat war. Bring it on. Crawfish, it might be too early on a Sunday morning to get the super chat wars. Usually we get those in the evenings. This is kind of like our appetizer, getting people warmed up to Walking Dead Day. But you never know. We could see super chat wars. Could be like an all-out war. Or it could be a whisper war. So the question I have for the group. Number one, is the gasoline in the fire really at Negan? Because it could be another scene. Number two, if it is at Negan, is it someone trying to literally hurt him? And number three option, is it someone trying to just get them to open the gate and let him out? Those are the three choices. Wow, I got a moderator super chatting. Look at that. The mod is throwing down the gauntlet to OU, and it says, brought OU. Pretty. And I don't want to mess with Emmy. I mean, just be careful, Crawfish. So Valerie's saying it's going to be a little bit of a sneak method, that it is someone trying to trick them. That we think it's someone trying to get at him, but they're just trying to get him to open the gate, and then maybe once the gate's open, they try to get Negan in a different area. Eric C. says, I love this comment. Kills Judith and RJ reminds me of Clementine raising AJ. You got the R and the J, and I'm sorry if you guys don't like this. Judith is Clementine. And I said this a long time ago. So if you guys don't see it at this point, Judith is not Carl. They completely are taking that character from Telltale. Well, they own it because they own the rights to it. And there's a lot of people that probably never played the game that don't know who we're talking about. But I'm going to throw this out there. Do you guys remember the streams a year ago? I just have to bring it up because when this becomes a comparison and other people are doing the comparison and they're putting it up on screen, just remember that we said it first a year ago. And I caught so much, I can't tell you how much flack I catch for some of these predictions. I do remember a lot of people had to go back and Google Clementine. And what's funny is I think they even found a way to make Clementine's baseball cap the sheriff's hat. If she ever retires the sheriff hat and puts on a ball cap, then you know. There's no doubt about it. Captain Crawfish with the super chat says, not sure Saviors will accept Negan in his current state. I think that's a good point. The Saviors that are out there, well, you know what, Crawfish, I want to kind of highlight your point. And there's been movies like this before, right? You ever seen like one of those movies where someone's imprisoned and then, you know, the rogues are still out there and then they break them out and they're like, yeah, we're going to rob some banks again. We're going to rob some, and they've been confirmed, you know, they've conformed, that they've changed, that they're not the same person. I think that would be, and I know some people are going to say it's been done, but I think that would be some finality, right? For Negan actually turning his back on the Saviors. It accomplishes two things. One, it really gets us to accept Negan, and number two, it brings closures to the Saviors. I would love it. I would love to see that happen, Crawfish. Even though I know it's not a new storyline. Scott Kernan says, doesn't Carol burn a Savior in this episode? We don't get too much into the spoilers on Sunday mornings, but it is a strong possibility that Carol will exact some revenge. So I'll leave it at that, Scott. There are going to be bits and pieces. There's like spoiler crumbs in these early morning streams. Now tonight at 8 when we do the countdown, yes, we're going to talk about the show a little bit more. But yes, there are a couple characters who I think are a little bit down, and they probably have been for a few years, that are going to get ramped up really quick. Captain Crawfish says, I was the one who predicted Judith was Clementine. You know, we'll go through the archives, Crawfish. I might have to challenge you on that one. I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't multiple. But you know what? As long as it was done in this stream, I'm cool with it. So whether it was me, Crawfish, Steph, Emmy, Valar, whoever, it came out of the 999 Army. So I'm cool with that. Well, Maxwell, I will tell you, no one just saw what you typed, but you'll probably never be typing in another one of our streams. There you go. Valar's like, it's me. You know what? Everybody just jump in there. We'll do it. It's a collective effort. Or Wilson. Crawfish super chatting it up again says, well, Carol burned saviors in the past, so yeah, it's not out of character for Carol. But Carol is a peaceful, happily married woman. She is. And you're going to see that in the beginning. I mean, you're going to see a side of Carol that's calm, but like a match, it does not take much to get Carol going. Let me just leave it at that. I'm going to say there's two schools of thought right now. Maybe three. Anyway, school one. Former badass characters that are not really motivated to do anything at this point. Daryl, Michonne, Carol. Those three. Then you've got Negan. 4. Negan, Carol, Daryl, Michonne. Group A. Group B. The people that are just out there and they're doing what they need to do day in and day out. Hasn't slowed them down a bit. Rosita. Judith. Some of the saviors. Probably Jesus, Aaron. They're kind of on high alert. And then you've got Group C, which is the new people that you're probably going to need. And that's probably going to be all of Magna's group. They're out there, they're battle tested, but we just don't know where they fit in yet. So, several things that you're going to see happening. Tara as well. And I don't know enough about Tara. You know, Tara's probably on high alert as well. I think that's a good point. Tara always gets skipped over. So, here's what's going to kind of happen. And it's going to happen before our eyes. And it's going to happen quickly. So those first 4 people are going to have to, whatever motivates them or whatever gets them fired up, if that's seeing one of their comrades fall, seeing them personally going through some trial or tribulation, those 4, everybody's going to get to that middle group. Everybody's going to get to B. So you're going to need Daryl, Carol, Michonne, and Negan all in that group with everybody else where they're ready to go. Then you're going to need these new people in there as well. So the story's just going to transition. There's going to be some lack of trust with Magna's group, and then they're going to have to prove themselves, and then they're going to be desperate to fight. And then Daryl roaming out in the woods, hunting his own fish, he's going to have to see somebody close to him hurt. I think that's what's really going to push him back to the group. So we got Scott Kernan says we have Carol seen in 9-6 and 9-7. Carol will be a vital part of the show going forward. But we won't have to wait 5 episodes for her to go live in a little cottage up the street from Ezekiel before and pomegranates and fruit and getting the news about Glenn and Abraham before she kind of ramps up. It'll happen fast tonight. Kay Hensley, Kills, do you think some saviors want to kill Negan? Not yet. It's a good question. I have to pause with that. I don't think they have a reason to want to kill Negan because he didn't really do anything wrong by them. I mean, he's always sort of put their interest first. It's just he's in a situation where he can't. But remember that whole sneaky thing with Oceanside? Is it possible, we haven't seen a lot from Oceanside, is it possible that we get one of those characters who want to finish the job? I mean, maybe that could help him get out of the cage. Oh, Scott says, a Daryl and Carol scene. I don't know how many more time skips we have to go through, but I think at this point it's pretty safe to say, Scott, that Carol and Daryl they're soulmates. I mean, they're best friends. And the people that want Carol and Daryl to hit off a relationship, I don't know if there's enough time skips to make that happen. Even if Ezekiel does die, I don't know that they want to move that into a romantic nature. I think their relationship is a very good relationship, and it's a relationship based on trust. And them jumping in bed together is probably just going to ruin what they have. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. I think that their relationship is so much stronger than a husband-wife relationship. What they do for each other now, to me, makes better television. Good. It's good to see not everybody wants to see that play out. Players, we demand they wind up together in the end. I'm okay. I'm okay with selective romance because they're humans and human nature and life goes on. When it diverts too much to romance, it gets a little too sappy for me, to be perfectly honest. And I think the way they time things are good. It's been comfortable. The fact that Rick and Michonne had a strong bond and that they, the legacy is carried on and they built for the future, that's good. But I like the fact that they, it's not all picnics. That every time we turn on the TV show, they're not sitting down having a picnic watching Judy. I get it from time to time, and it's necessary. But I just don't want this to be Days of Our Lives. I want it to be The Walking Dead. And if we've learned anything, when people build up too much and they let their guard down too much, wasn't it Daryl that was, when him and Rick, when they first got to Alexandria, they were talking out on the porch, and they were talking about not becoming soft and not becoming, this place could turn them around a little bit. And ultimately, that conversation played out again at the base camp to where, when it was a small group, that was right. We on the same side, Rick? Well, I don't know. You tell me. Never going to forget that scene. There you go. The memory of Rick lives on. Scott Kernan, they're all that's left. So, yeah, they're all that's left for each other, but I think they know there's other people. And, I ain't going to lie. There are probably some male characters that would volunteer to have a relationship with Magna. Maybe Eugene might have missed out on Rosita. Maybe Magna. But Magna may be in a relationship with Yumiko. So we'll see how that plays out. We just don't know what they're going to do on the television show. I'm pretty sure comic fans help me out with this. In the comic book, and I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like that, Magna and Yumiko are in a relationship. Is that correct, hardcore comic fans? I'm on episode 107. But you know what? During the break, I will catch up on the comics. So then, that's my goal for the winter. Once Walking Dead kind of goes in a little bit of a break in December, I'm going to catch up. So, we'll see. Maybe it changes on the TV show, and I'm holding out that Eugene is going to find somebody. There's nothing cuter than a little baby with a mullet. So hopefully Eugene gets his opportunity. So Scott Kernan says they confirmed it at Comic-Con. It'll be on TV. So, all right. Fair enough. Lakeisha says, Tara, can we do some matchmaking? Can we get Eugene, involved with somebody? Maybe that would tone him down a little bit. A reformed whisperer for Eugene. Yeah, it's a tough situation. Maybe they have to expand out a little bit more. So let me tie in, because you guys know these streams are about 30 minutes. It appears in tonight's episode that Negan is trying to manipulate Judith a little bit. Now, she has not let him out, so he has not been successful. But he is trying to get information about the new group. Maybe he thinks the new group could be a bond or partnership, or maybe thinks a new group will feel sorry for him. Because clearly Judith has rules. She hasn't violated those rules. Michonne has not let Negan out. They know Negan is still somewhat of a danger because, look, he's been in jail for 7.5 years. So if he's trying to get information out of Judith to find out who the new people are, and maybe Magna does let Negan out, then my question for everybody is this. Do we love Negan at this point, or can we still leave him in dislike/hate if he is not totally reformed and if he is trying to manipulate Judith to get her, to trick her into opening the gate, kind of like Henry did with Gregory? So let me see where you're at with Negan right now. I'm going to give strong love toward Judith, and then the reaction toward Negan is what, everyone? Isolate Pass says love him. So we got some love for Negan. Got some dislike. Still some don't like him. Commodore, will we see Battletoads and Double Dragon next season? No, we will not. Leave him in a cell. Untrustworthy. Nope. Emma Bauer, hate him. Don't like him. I want to love him, says Julia. Deborah says, a trick. Jennifer likes him. Got some love for Negan. Still don't like him. On the fence. Don't trust him. You know, I really was afraid that they were going to write some deceit into Negan's story. And because of that, I've always said they can't do it. They can't do it because it's been too hard for people to give him another chance. I'm really on the fence about tonight's episode. If he's deceitful, I think it's going to push them back a little bit. You can see from what a lot of people are saying, they still don't trust him. And I do think we need to get him to a point where he's valuable. It's going to be a tough war without him. Now, I could be completely wrong on it. Maybe he's not as big of a piece of the Whisper War as I think he's going to be. But I just feel it like there's so much danger out there. There's so much more evil than him at this moment. He needs to get on board fast. All right, everybody, we're going to wind it down with that. I want to thank everybody for being here on the Sunday morning. We're at 33 minutes. This is not the only stream we do. We're going to be doing this. We're not doing 5 today. That I can assure you. Last Sunday was a little rough. We will be back at 8 o'clock tonight. We're back along our more normal schedule. So really quickly, let me tell you kind of what that entails. And it could be an extra stream here or there. So on Sundays, we just kick it off. It's going to be love versus hate. And they will veer off the path a little bit, and we'll get to some other topics. We always do. But we're still talking about The Walking Dead. So we got that. We start at 11 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock we do our official countdown. Some people are cooking or getting ready for their Walking Dead parties. You know, just have me playing in the background. It's cool. You don't have to be at the computer. Just turn it up. You know, have dinner with the family. And then we get The Walking Dead. And then after The Walking Dead, it's just our complete reactions. You know, what we thought about the show, how we compared it to the spoilers, what was different from the spoilers, and that'll be at 10:15. So we do stream that during Talking Dead. So you can have both playing. And then tomorrow night, 9:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, all during the week, we'll have a different Walking Dead topic. And look forward to your thoughts, look forward to your comments. So I want to thank everybody for being here. All the Patreons in the upper left-hand corner, you guys are amazing. Just tremendous support over the last 5 and 6 months. We've just grown our Patreon channel and the support for this channel. You guys are incredible. And thank you for all of those. A lot of people are messaging me saying, you know what, Kills? I don't watch ads on anything on YouTube, but when your videos come up, I always watch the ads. I appreciate everything that you guys do. And also the top right corner, we got the sponsors as well. Moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, do an amazing job. We're going to do the Grimes giveaway. Hold tight because I still want to iron out some things. Steph and I are working on it. It is going to be a caption photo, but we may not do that until tomorrow and then have an official day. So Maybe we'll post a picture either today or tomorrow, have you do the caption, and then we'll announce when the contest is going to be, like when we're going to pick the winner. So I want to have that kind of take a couple of days to sort of sink in with everybody as well. And we got some super chatters here today. There was a little bit of a super chat competition with OU Captain Crawfish. We saw you. Let me give some shout outs to super chatters really quick. We had Valar, Scott Kernan, Captain Crawfish, Emmy Desiree. We got Kay Hensley. And a lot of super chats between Scott Kernan and Captain Crawfish. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being in here. And sometimes we have some battles with stuff like that. Thanks, everybody. I will talk to you all soon. And hold on. One more thing that I do want to do, and that is get some shout-outs to... You know what? We'll do the shout-outs to the 999 Army tonight after the reaction video. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. And I will talk to you all tonight at 8 o'clock. Peace.